US government is now being accused of sabotaging the Nord Stream pipeline, but they're denying it. Would they do it? Let's find out. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants. Now, I am ashamed to say it, there are tyrants in the US government. I'm a patriot, and I believe it was Mark Twain who once said, a patriot is someone who always supports their country, and they support their government when they deserve it. Big difference between your country and your government. So out of my patriotism, I think it's important to call out corrupt government officials, even in our own government. Like newsflash, I've always been doing that. So it's just come out, an investigative journalist named Seymour Hersh. Now, Seymour Hersh is a Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist. So I assume he has a track record of very accurate investigations. That doesn't mean all of them are accurate, but it means this dude is highly credible. And he published a Substack, as you can see here, How America Took Out the Nord Stream Pipeline. The New York Times called it a mystery, but the United States executed a covert sea operation that was kept secret until now. So you remember, I think it was back in September, the Nord Stream pipeline, this natural gas pipeline that goes from Russia to Germany through the ocean, it was destroyed. And everybody's like, we didn't do it. But the problem is someone did it. And obviously whoever did it was denying it, and they're still denying it. Those are the irrefutable facts we know to be true. So we can't expect honesty to be the currency of value here because nobody's being honest about it. There was speculation, hey, maybe the US did it as a way of trying to sabotage Russia, cut off their natural gas exports to Germany, sort of starve them financially, take away their leverage they have over Europe, some of their leverage over Europe with eliminating their natural gas pipeline. There is also speculation Russia might have done it. They might have sabotaged their own pipeline as a way of trying to frame the US or other NATO-ish countries. And then speculation that like everybody else might have done it too. Maybe it was Trump. Who knows? But in those early days, my hunch was if I had to pin this on anybody, I'd say the US did it. I didn't know for sure, but it just seemed like that seems like the most likely scenario, in my opinion. And now Seymour Hersh comes out not saying, hey, I think this is what happened, but Seymour Hersh is saying, this is what happened. Now, we can take that with a grain of salt, but let's take a look at what some of Seymour Hersh says as his evidence that the U.S. took out the Nord Stream pipeline. In the third paragraph down, let's just start there. Last June, Navy divers operating under the cover of a widely publicized midsummer NATO exercise known as Baltop 22 planted the remotely triggered explosives that 3 months later, destroyed 3 of the 4 Nord Stream pipelines, according to a source with direct knowledge of the operational planning. With that, Seymour Hersh is claiming to have an anonymous source. And if that's true, it makes sense why the source would be anonymous. This person who maybe wants to come forward with this information probably knows he'll be invited to the Clintons' house for dinner if his name is named. Article goes on. 2 of the pipelines, which were known collectively as Nord Stream 1, had been providing Germany and much of Europe with cheap natural Russia gas for more than a decade. A second pair of pipelines, called Nord Stream 2, had been built but were not yet operational. Now, with Russian troops amassing on the Ukrainian border and the bloodiest war in Europe since 1945 looming, President Joseph Biden, that's Hunter's dad, saw the pipelines as a vehicle for Vladimir Putin to weaponize natural gas for his political and territorial ambitions. So, in other words, my delusional redheaded interpretation is, according to Seymour Hersh, according to Joseph R. Biden, I don't even know if R is his middle name, but it sounds good. Joseph R. Biden saw the Nord Stream pipelines as a weaponization of Vladimir Putin. It's something he can use to leverage and coerce European countries, most specifically Germany, certainly, into doing their bidding, saying like, hey, do what I want you to do, or else I could cut you off from natural gas. Also, Russia gets money for selling their natural gas to Germany and Europe. But what does the White House have to say? They're accused of this. Would they come out and say, like, yeah, you got us. We definitely did it. We're going to be honest because we're always honest with you. Now, as for comment, Adrienne Watson, a White House spokesperson, said in an email, "This is false and complete fiction." It's misinformation. And Tammy Thorpe, a spokesperson for the CIA, similarly wrote, "This claim is completely and utterly false." Cool. Now, we know if the U.S. did not do it, the White House and the CIA would certainly deny doing that, because if they didn't do it, they would just be honest and say, no, we didn't do it. But we also know that if the U.S. did do it, the White House and the CIA would also deny doing it. The U.S. government for decades, if not centuries, has a track record of lying. And certainly over the past couple years of the Biden administration, I don't know if they have a track record of saying anything honest. There's so much in the way of lies, propaganda, gaslighting coming from them that, in my opinion, the Biden administration truly is the boy who cried wolf. It's nothing but lies. How can we believe anything that you're saying? You have a track record of lying. Doesn't mean you're lying here. It just means you've established the precedent that you will lie, and you will lie often. And then switching over to the Daily Wire's coverage of the event, I think a noteworthy aspect of what they reported is this. Biden threatened last year that there will no longer be a Nord Stream 2 if Russia crossed the Ukrainian border, and insisted to a journalist that we will be able to bring an end to the system. So last year, Biden's literally threatened, we will bring an end to the Nord Stream system. So it doesn't seem too far-fetched that the President of the United States, who said, we will end the Nord Stream system if Russia crosses into Ukraine. Russia crossed into Ukraine. The Nord Stream system has come to an end. The president of the U.S. government, who is now being accused by Seymour Hersh, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist, accused of destroying a pipeline, is maybe they destroyed the pipeline. I don't know. Does that seem far-fetched? They said they would do the thing that they're now accused of doing. Man, you don't have to wear a tinfoil hat to legitimately say, maybe they did it. And maybe you could even say, it seems likely that they did it. And now I want to put on my tinfoil hat for a minute and start speculating, could this be could there be something bigger here? Let's just say the U.S. did it. We're going to live in that world for a second. Is there something bigger than the U.S. secretly destroying the Nord Stream pipeline in order to have a strategic move against Russia? Maybe. What could that be? Let's connect a few dots here that may not actually be connected in all reality, but let's just connect them for the sake of conversation here. Biden and his administration seem very much into doing the bidding of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum are in a massive campaign to disable energy systems around the world in the name of being green, in the name of reducing carbon, which means they're trying to basically shut down real electrical grids, real power grids. So if you take out a lot of the power via natural gas that goes to Europe, could that be part of a bigger plan of controlling people by reducing their access to legitimate, somewhat affordable energy? I don't know. It's possible those dots connect. It's possible the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline by the U.S. government, allegedly, could be a part of that bigger arching plan, in addition to having a strategic move against Russia. I don't know. I'm just talking here. But if the U.S. did do it, we're still living in the world where we're taking Seymour Hersh's article with a grain of salt, but also with the plate of food that it's served on. What does this mean if the U.S. did it? What does it mean to Russia? What does it mean to the rest of the world? Well, I would speculate what it means is it'll piss Russia off. It'll piss Putin off. If someone destroyed a U.S. pipeline, I mean, we would consider that an act of terrorism, certainly. I would imagine Russia would consider this an act of terrorism. Now, I love Russian people. I think Vladimir Putin's a bag of crap. I think Biden's a bag of crap. I think a lot of the world leaders are bags of crap. So I would imagine this ruffles Putin's feathers a lot. And if that's true, what does that mean? I would dare say the U.S. sabotaging the Nord Stream pipeline, allegedly, what it really means is it moves us closer to World War III, where the Biden administration has been inching the U.S. towards World War III with every amount of funding, tanks, weapons sent to Ukraine. I mean, it's like, hey, we're not in the war, but here's some shit to use in the war. So but we're not in it, but here our hands are in it. That's been inching us closer to Russia potentially wanting to take action against the U.S. and U.S. allies. And I would dare say sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline would inch us, probably not inch us, but scoot us quite a ways closer, which is World War III. I don't think that's something anyone wants other than maybe elite psychopaths that want everything destroyed so it's easier for them to control. But let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you think the U.S. government did in fact destroy the Nord Stream pipeline? Do you think Seymour Hersh's investigative journalism is accurate? Or do you think something else happened? Let me know in the comments. I'll look forward to reading. And I will also see you here on this channel for our next video where our crusade for freedom will 100% continue. But until then, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, stay free.